Sorry, I'm almost there. I'm just connecting the stream to YouTube. Be a second. Thank you.
Are we live, Baron?
We are live. I'm struggling to get it through the kind of previous live link that was shared. It's like making a new link on YouTube.
I can't really hear
I tried to set up like a scheduled link for YouTube, but it seems to be making just a complete new link on YouTube. So if people are trying to tune in from the previous link, it'll take them to a new live stream.
you. Oh,
So yeah.
okay. Let's take a few minutes to sit. You to mute yourself, Baron.
Oh, sorry. I think it's okay. There's no. It says there's no one waiting to join the live stream, so there's still a live stream on the YouTube if someone goes on to it.
In your heart, take refuge in the three jewels. And generate the mind of bodhicitta. We'll recite the sublime prayer. Again, yogi nu jap san pema gesa dombola yang sen choki nu drugni pema jumne je sutra koru kandro manpe kor keki je sutra truki jingi la chushak su sol guru pema siddhi hum. Om Again yogi nu jap san pema gesa dombola yang sen choki nu drugni pema jumne je sutra koru kandro manpa kor keki je sutra truki jingi la chushak su sol guru pema siddhi hum. Om Again yogi nu jap san pema gesa dombola yang sen choki nu drugni pema jumne je sutra koru kandro manpa kor keki je sutra truki jingi la chushak su sol guru pema siddhi hum. Receive the four empowerments and dissolve the guru. Did everybody understand what was happening during the empowerment? Oh, that. That's okay. So it's the empowerment, just like a seed, is just gets planted, and then the sadhana is the way to water the seed. There's a few different variations of Vajrasattva. Sadhana is like every lineage has got its own tweaking of the practice. Every practice in the Tantric Buddhism practices Vajrasattva, every lineage. It's like the most common practice. Tara is very common practice. Avalokiteshvara, generally every tradition. Vajrasattva is like really embedded. Sometimes you'll see him with his consort. He can practice Yabhyam Vajrasattva, but this is solitary Vajrasattva. And it's a different tradition, but this book, I'll put the link up. But it's good, it's for kids, which is what we are. Yeah, so it's like, if I can flick pictures of how to do it.
But it's more on the lower tantra side, and more what we'd be more familiar with is like Catholic guilt. Yeah, so I mean, you can get the book, but be warned, it will trigger your Catholic guilt. I'm real, and I did bad things wrong. Yeah, and the mind can go, and you can get tight and upset. Vajrasattva is not particularly, I mean, it's great, but there's the elements that are unpleasant. And what we were talking about last night about love, where you have to look at yourself. You know that feeling when you get caught doing something wrong? That. And it's like, I don't want to face that I've done something wrong. When, depending on your faith of you're going to get purified, then you'll come running to your mum and dad and say you did something wrong. You maybe pretend that you didn't. Then when you get found out, then you go, I'm sorry, mum. And you know that as soon as you say sorry, you're going to get a big hug and go, it's okay. It's often the fear, oh no, if when I get home, I'm going to have to face my mum and dad when you've done something quite bad. And depending on what parents you have, but if you've got reasonable parents, when you've done something really bad, you come home and you fear the worst. That's when they're the nicest. Sometimes maybe you get a telling off first, and then they're nice. And over time, especially if you've got parents, you understand why. Because you're out of control. And your ego was doing things that hurt other kids. Yeah, you do something that hurt other kids, you get told off with, oh, you don't love me. It's like, no, it's because they love you. But that feeling's it's not the best feeling in the world, is it? This is the practice, is to look at all the stuff we've done and confess it. So if you think like the Catholic guilt side, if you think you have to earn your way to God, the practice is not going to really work. You're already a Buddha. There's nothing for you to do to make yourself a pure being. You are one. You say, well, what's in the way of me seeing it? The stuff that you did. So it's like, these are just symbols. When you go from, I call it Catholic guilt, the lowest school, Vajrasattva is outside of yourself. And that's solitary Vajrasattva, but we're giving you teachings from the highest school. The Vajrasattva, there is a being outside that you can look at, but that's your own mind. So it's just a symbolic way of looking at yourself and accepting everything you've done. And in that naked acceptance, you allow your pure awareness to be revealed, which is God. So it's going naked before God. Otherwise you've doing things and you can't accept you've done them. It's like you won't admit that you're wrong. That's when the pride element comes in. You think, I should be able to do what I like. There should be no such thing as repercussions. And we'd like hide the actions. We're not hiding. It's not like God sees everything, as in Every action you've performed, you were aware that it happened. That awareness is God. That's what I mean by God sees everything. You see everything. When we go into experiences, when we experience our pure awareness, we realize it's always here, right? That pure awareness was there when you were smashing your brother's toys up. Was it not? Or was it somewhere else? The pure awareness that knows it's wrong was there, witnessing it. So you're just coming back to yourself and going, I did that. And this is really a way to convince ourselves that we can purify that action, that we cleanse it. And also, our actions kind of clog up our energy body. When you ever go into like a pure state, and you can see other people, when we go out into, say, the city, and you can see the Buddha nature in people. But if you look at a heroin addict, usually a good example, or say a 70-year-old alcoholic, you can see how difficult it would be them to perceive themselves in their pure state. You can like see the energy of their lifetime upon them. They could be free. The Buddha nature is there, but you can sense this clog of stuff on them. And that's what we're getting rid of in ourselves when we do the Vajrasattva practice. It's just getting the energy stuff out and purifying the system. Not that you are not pure. I mean, the really good example is your consciousness, like water, has been mixed with mud. And you shake it up and it's just all mud. But the water itself is still pure. You just need to extract the mud. If you go to London, you drink in people's urine. Yeah, they just extract it. Still not quite the same, is it? It's not nice water, is it? Out the tap. I don't trust it at all. My friend laughed and I said, "Is that safe to drink?" He's like, "Yeah, of course it is." I'm like, It's probably got vaccines in it. Yeah, when we were watching Marcus Waring, it was like an amazing thing to discover they put vaccine in fish. So you're eating vaccines. So it's like, yeah, who else? I mean, that was a good place as well. Like a good place. I mean, you just got no idea what they're up to. Anyway, it's the left field. Governmental stuff that you got no idea what's going on if things are. I think go through I haven't done the sadhana we're going to do yet. Okay, this is like the book is like a longer practice. And when we do the sadhana, we want it quite short. Essentially, when we're doing this, all you really need to do is the mantra. Yeah. And for us, it's very important that we don't become like type 5 Buddhists, in which we think the sadhana is saying the words in the right order. Yeah, and unless I've said the words in the right order, I haven't done the sadhana. And then you feel guilty because you haven't sat down and said the words in the right order. You can do the sadhana in 5 seconds. I'm going to do the sadhana now. There we go. We go for refuge. The sadhana says, say the words. And we'll have the thing where you say the words. At the start, we go for refuge. Maybe when we do the sadhana, probably come out of emptiness, but we'll usually go for refuge first. And then generate bodhicitta. So you decide that whatever you're doing, you can do it right now. That the reason I'm gonna continue listening to the teaching is for the benefit of all living beings. And we just make that our motivation. That's why I'm doing it. It's not difficult. You can say the words if it helps you generate the mind. But if you say the words, so you've got two choices. You can say the words, but you still think, what a pile of shit. Or you can generate the mind, just have a feeling, a mind of love, which doesn't need to have any thoughts, just a mind of love that goes out. But you don't say the words. Which one's the true sadhana? Right? If you understand what I'm saying, then when you go and see Muji, then he's practicing the sadhana. He doesn't even know it. So when you get caught up in this religion or that religion, you're caught up in something that is not the sadhana. So it's a good indicator when someone's caught up in sectarianism that they don't actually know what the religion is that they're being discriminatory about. How's that? It's true. Then when you meet someone outside in the world and they're kind, you understand they're practicing the path, while you may read stuff about the path and you're not in that moment. The path is not a fixed phenomenon. So you may be sitting with Adolf Hitler, and in a moment with him, you're judging him and getting angry, and in that moment, he just has a pure moment and sees his dog and has a moment of love. In that moment, he's a Buddha and you're not. Might not last for him, and your angry might not last. But in that moment, you're lower. The Buddha's not like a thing. It's not an identity. It's the end of identity. But that's part of our trying to become a Buddha, means we're going to be special, isn't it? It's going to be the ultimate identity, isn't it? I'm enlightened. Me. And it's how long does this path take before I can stop doing it? So I can rest, so I can be that ultimate identity. It's a really wrong way of understanding the path. The path is it's just your life and how it unfolds. And what are you doing to be in the space that's beautiful or not? So ultimately, you understand that your anger is beautiful. It's only beautiful when you're not identifying with it. When you're identifying with it, it's the ugliest thing in the world. It's hell. It's hell for you and hell for other people. So again, you can never tell from the outside when you see someone angry if they're practicing the path on them, because it's their relationship to it. Generally, you'll get an idea of who a practitioner is on how quickly the anger goes away. Someone who's not a practitioner, generally they hold on to it, bring it up again, and again, refer to it in the past and get resentful, rather than on to the next thing. So in the tantric path, then we're not getting rid of anger. Anger's not a problem. But it is for us, once we're identified with it. Does your anger have self-interest? That's the identity. If your anger's like the love of a mother for a child, it's beautiful. So when we do the sadhana, we go for refuge. We generate the mind of bodhicitta. Then from the space of emptiness, we Vajrasattva appears. Sometimes it appears out of a seed syllable. Sometimes we can just visualize them arising. You should probably, actually, we'll just go through the stages in the book, just as probably the best way to do it, rather than. Now, depending on how much time you have, if you're going to, say, do a long session, you can sit down before and think about the negative actions you've done that you want to purify. If we're doing it as part of our counting retreat, then you want to go through the things in your life that you're not proud of, or things that you feel clog up your energy channels, and bring them up to get ready to be purified. During the sadhana, we go through the 4 opponent powers, which purify the stains, but you may want to spend time reading it, reflecting on what they are and what they mean to you as we go into it. So the 4 opponent powers are what purifies your mind. The power of reliance, the power of regret, the power of resolve, and the power of the antidote. So the power of reliance is the Buddha's. Yeah, the power of regret is how much you regret doing that action. The power of resolve is how much you're determined not to do it again. And the power of the antidote is the mantra. They all, with how much it works, depends on how much you mean it all. It is said, if you have all of them perfect, you just need to say the mantra once, and you're purified of all your karma. That gives you a sense of what it's like to have shamatha. Basically, when you got shamatha, absolute, total one. You can't get 100% faith, but you know what I mean. Very strong faith. Shamatha, like a mind that just is absolutely, completely, and utterly undistracted whilst you say the mantra. Total knowledge that if you don't purify it, you're going to hell. Like this unbelievable regret. And so this complete, you make an absolute 100% promise, I will never do this again. For the benefit of all living beings, I will never do this action again. Shamatha, total concentration, absolute faith. Rather than, does this really work? Is my visualization rubbish? Does that mean anything? As you're saying the mantra, you're like, what's for shopping? I need to do shopping. How long am I doing this? It's like, I don't know. I'm going to probably do it again anyway. Wasn't that bad. It's like, why should I purify this? Not much will happen. a nice imprint perhaps of saying the mantra. And mid-level, like swinging, you get like just a sense that Vajrasattva is there. You mainly stay focused on the mantra, even though thoughts are coming. There is a sense of that wasn't a nice action. And they're like, I really don't want to do that again. I might do. But we'll sense that that's getting things done. And the more you start to feel it, the more faith you have. The more faith you have, the more you understand that Buddha's right about negative actions leaving stains on your consciousness. The more you want it out, then the more you understand that Buddha's attained enlightenment by doing this. Therefore, you have more faith in the mantra. So when we go into the story of Padmasambhava or Gachin Rinpoche, and you look at what these beings do for us, and the only thing that they really want is for us to become enlightened. It's like, so what did they do about it? They give us this mantra. Yeah, you notice that people like Gachin Rinpoche don't come about giving us money. They don't. Like Geshe didn't give me money. He had loads of money. He's a millionaire. He just didn't own it. He just gave it away for centers, for people to come to get this mantra so they can purify their mind. Like I said before, the story that when they took his TV away from him, because he had a TV and then Live Aid was on, he started giving everything away. So they took the TV away from him so they couldn't do it. Gave away his car and stuff like that, so they had to like buy him another car. But all the money that would come in, it's his money, but he wouldn't take it. You just get you just only take, his rent. He'd have a room and a small amount of money to live on and a car. But like the meditation handbook was like a bestseller, making loads of money. So what are they doing? They're giving us this. This is do this. If you feel their love, and that's all they want you to do, is to do this. Purify yourself. So as you're purifying, stuff can come up. But we'll get into that. So the 4 opponent powers are what we're doing in the practice. Yeah, and they're in the Lamrim text, they're in this text, you can read and reflect on, if you want to get into the karmic consequences of your actions, but that's when we get into the Catholic guilt stuff and it might be too much for you, because it would be like, ugh! I mean, you can panic and it's like, it's like the mind is a bit crazy, right? Our mind's crazy. So when it reads it takes it out of proportion. I mean, there is lots of negative consequences. Yeah. But Buddha also says, developing a mind of love for 1 second creates merit that fills the universe. Which we don't often get as excited about. So when we hear a negative thing, we go, ah! And then we hear, if you develop a mind of love for bodhicitta for 1 second, your mind's like experiencing things it's never experienced for eternity. And you're like, all right. Instead of going, yeah, I just need to be in love all the time, and I'm just going to go into more love, into God. Yes. And just, whoa. It's just after a few seconds, the mind will start thinking, does this really work? But when it comes to a negative thing, you could probably sit all day going, I'm so bad, this means I'll never make it, my practice will never work, I'm so rubbish, I'm useless, doesn't it? Just be careful. Where it goes like that, you just think, they're not teaching it to make you feel bad. The Tibetans don't know our culture. I do. Just be careful when you read it, if you're going to read it. If you want to go into the specifics of the things you've done. Yeah. But remember, the specifics of any good thing you have has incredible flourishings. Okay, so yeah, this week I'll create the sadhana and go through the actual practice that we will do. This has got like lots of specifics, which I'm not sure exactly what we'll do. As I say, each lineage is slightly different, but the Jedgu's gone through the general principles. But generally, just start in meditation, and we say in emptiness, it just means resting in awareness. And specifically, when we're doing any kind of self-generation, meditate on the fact that your image that you have of yourself is just a mental construct. It's just appearing in that awareness space. You can look at it, can't you? You can observe the image of yourself. And when we do emptiness meditation, you look for that. You can't. It's not real. Like there's no actual body that's findable outside of it. Just an image in your mind. It's just a thought. So you just replace that with Vajrasattva. You don't have to look at this and pretend that you're seeing Vajrasattva. Your internal image that you have, which has got nothing to do with this, right? Yeah, even right now, you can sense that the image you have of your body and self has got nothing to do with the bile in your body, the blood going through you. It's just an image. You just replace it with Vajrasattva and think, that's my self-image. And usually you have lots of thoughts going around and you think, that's my mind. But when you're resting in awareness, you realize it's just things just moving through you. Like when you have thoughts, you think, that's me. Like, I'm angry, rather than a phenomenon that moves through you. So when you have any sense of peace or bliss, you think, that's my mind. And the usual thoughts and anger going, that's not my mind. Or when we're practicing Guru Yoga, that peace and bliss, you think, that's the Guru's mind. That's inside me. And the negative thoughts and the anger, that's me. That's what I'm usually identifying with. The Guru's mind is coming into me, and now I'm experiencing peace and bliss, and you start to identify with the Guru's mind. In other words, you don't need to do anything. You just allow the Guru's mind to become your mind. And you just stop holding on to the more you relate to that, you go, that's my mind, the more the self-image of Vajrasattva becomes a valid self-image. You start to see yourself as Vajrasattva. But check, like when you go outside and you make a cup of tea and you've got a self-image, it's different from the body making the cup of tea. And just imagine, and it's that image is so connected to all the thoughts you've had about yourself that are bad. Like, I'm an idiot, I'm this and that. So when you think I'm an idiot, this and that, that self-image arises. It's all mental construct. So you can just imagine that you go out and you just got some loving feelings, and you're relating to that as your true mind, and that the self-image is Vajrasattva making a cup of tea. And this is just your puppet that you're moving about. What Buddha says, this is the Namanakaya aspect, so people can see you. As again Tubden said, you look at Geshe, he's not an old man. That's not how he's relating to himself. Inside he's Haruka, experiencing uncontaminated great bliss. But you can't see that. You need to be able to see him. So how do you see him? He appears as a Tibetan monk. So you can see, you can connect with what he's relating to. Otherwise you can't see someone's subtle body. In the same way you can't see someone dreaming. They're in their dream body. You can't see it. Can you? You've got your partner, you can't see what they're up to. They might be cheating on you right in front of you. They might be lying right next to you and they're banging some bird in their dream. You can't see it, can you? You don't know if they've done it. So that body's more subtle, and that's the body that the Buddhas relate to. You can't see it, so they need some way of connecting to you. So they appear as ordinary, so you can see them. So you have the karma to see them. And as you know, there's no time in the dream world, right? And there's no obstacles. Like 1 minute you can be in the Sahara Desert, the next minute you can be in the Arctic. Just like that. So it's like the Buddha's mind can just emanate. Whenever you visualize Vajrasattva, Buddha appears. There's no obstacle in the subtle realm. It's not like this realm. So when we visualize Vajrasattva coming from emptiness, we're recognizing this subtle body appears, and we're trying to connect with that body that exists. We can't see with the flesh eyes. Yeah, the senses only see what the senses can see. You can't see love. You can only see the effects of love. You can't see someone's dream body. So and we visualize Vajrasattva from that space, and ourself coming from that space. In this practice, you stay in as your ordinary body that you're going to purify, and Vajrasattva appears. Vajrasattva will appear above your head. So in the book it says an arrow's length, but we don't do it. It's just above your head here. Okay. And there'll be a lotus, a moon disk, and a hum. And from that Vajrasattva will arise. Now these are all symbolic. So we're practicing Tantra. So before, Tantra is the path of magic. It's like my Lama said, it's like a witch's coven. Yeah, when you do a group practice, it works better when there's more witches. So it's like that when we do group stuff together. So when we're doing the retreat together, you create like an energy of like putting your energy into the symbols. So Tantra is all symbols. So Sutra is the path of the intellect. So if you like to think your way, think about things like explanations, like logic. Yeah, when you go in like the Tibetan Buddhist path, it's like, and other paths, and like going, there's the whole modules on logic and stuff like that. I mean, I could do it. Just about, then we went into, if there's where there's smoke, there's fire. breaking it down, the syllogism and the predicate and, you know, all the different elements of it. It's like, what the fuck's this got to do with enlightenment? Honestly, it's just, what's going on? You know, I'd get to a certain level of the intellectual stuff. It's like, what is going on? That's it. But it's to protect your mind and be able to, so you don't get caught by, society's quite powerful, right? And to be able to see through their lies, you need a sharp mind that can help. But you don't necessarily need a sharp mind. If you've got someone else around you who's got a sharp mind, you can just go, no, 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 that's not true. It's not a cult. You know, you're in a cult, and that person's teaching you freedom, and then someone can explain to you the differences between what it means to be free and what it means to be in a cult. Yeah, there's some nice stuff about, I think it came up recently somewhere, someone realized that they're not free because you can't leave the country, right, without a passport. You're not free. You're in it's a big prison, but you do have, in Sweden, you do have open area prisons. Yeah, you do, like you have your battery farm, then you have a larger farm, and then you actually have the wild. Yeah, but the larger farm is still a farm. It's still a prison. You can't leave. You can't just go somewhere. They'll stop you. They can put you in prison. Yeah. Then you have to pay obeisance to the cult leaders, the royal family. If you cannot criticize them publicly, or you'll get jailed. Yeah. You can still be hung for being a traitor, I believe, in the UK. I think it's the one thing you can still be hung for. If you have to praise them, you have to give them your money. Yeah? That's what your taxes pay for them, right? You have to give them money. They're your leaders. You have to sing the anthem to them. And on and on and on and on. They own lots of unbelievable amounts of land, the cult leaders. Yeah. And they rule. It's like they rule. They've got, you don't understand what the energetic implications of what government is, and you're still paying obeisance to the cult leaders, and where your money has to go, and what you have to do, and what you have to say, and how you have to behave. If you don't behave, armed men will come, arrest you, they'll put you before one of their judges, and then put you in jail because you're not behaving according to the cult leaders. Then they'll tell you what fashion is. They employ people to tell you how to think. You know, what's good, what's bad. They'll tell you which countries are bad, which countries we should bomb. Oh, it said here that there's bad. Right? Then you have people who tell you what it means to be free, which means you'll be free from everything that they're doing, their economic structures, so then they'll tell you that that's a cult. And a lot of people can't figure it out. So generally, like, you need a sharp mind. The sword of Manjushri, the sword represents wisdom, which cuts through garbage. Symbols. So you can have explanations like that, or you can just look at a picture of Manjushri and you get it. And when you just need to have it explained to you once what the symbols are, and then it goes into your subconscious. And then you see the image and it works on your subconscious. So you don't need to worry about figuring out enlightenment. You just have faith. You see the symbols and the practice works. It bypasses. So you could say it's much more feminine. Tantra is a much more feminine approach to the path. It's intuitive. It's symbols. It's not about just sitting still. You want to get your trinkets. Yeah, really getting into Tantra, you want to buy a Vajran bell. And you want to buy have your mala for doing your counting on. Get a picture of Vajrasattva, get your pictures, and then you're doing stuff when you practice. You know, it's not just sitting in shamatha, but dancing, singing. It's like you see in Tibetan Buddhism. It's like, whoa, it's like an explosion of color. I think it's just symbols of magic. Yeah, so the bell symbolizes essentially emptiness, and the Vajra symbolizes bliss, but indestructibility. Yeah, as my Lama says, your innate unfuckableness. Yeah, you can't fuck up your being. It's already pure. It's indestructible. It's innate. This is symbolized by the Vajra. But the bliss and emptiness go together. The Vajra and bell. But the symbolism of Vajrasattva, I'll read it out just so it goes in once. And it's an amazing book because a lot of this stuff, you don't get told. Can you all see the picture? The knot of hair on the top of his head symbolizes that he has never been confused or distracted, and his continuum has always been full of great wisdom. His singular face represents the soul heart drop of ultimate Dhyakaya. Soul means everything is included in it. Heart drops can fall into two categories, ultimate and conventional. The ultimate refers to Dhammakaya. His two eyes represent the wisdom of suchness and omniscience. The wisdom of suchness is to realize the nature of all phenomena as emptiness. The wisdom of omniscience is to understand all phenomena. His two ears are the union of the two truths, conventional truth and ultimate truth. His two nostrils represent benefiting self and others effortlessly. His lips symbolize universal great happiness. His teeth represent the perfect mandala of the 42 peaceful deities. His tongue signifies the union of samsara and nirvana. His two arms show the equality of wisdom and compassion. His 10 fingers represent the 5 Buddha bodies and 5 wisdoms. His 2 feet symbolize not abiding in either samsara or nirvana. The 12 joints of his body represent the purification of the transmigration through the 12 links of dependent origination. His 10 toes represent the 5 perfect male Buddhas and 5 perfect female Buddhas of the 5 directions. Sitting in the Vajra posture signifies being free from the drifting and changing nature of the 3 times. His complete body represents the enlightened body with all the good qualities. The wisdom rays radiating from his pores denote the 84,000 teachings. Then it breaks down all his gear, all his bling, Vajra bling. That's how it's like all the Vajra bling together. And they all correspond to like the 5 purified emotions, and like going on and on. You can get the book and read them all. So it goes deeper into the Vajra. Each prong of the Vajra symbolizes different things. The middle symbolizes different things. Different elements of the bell symbolize different things. The indestructibility, generally, it's your mind manifesting, the purity of your mind manifesting, and you start to relate to that as objects. So you never put Dharma stuff on the ground. It's how you treat it that becomes magic or not. It's whether you'd impute pet or product, whether you can kill something. If you impute pet, that thing that comes into your room generates love in your heart. If you don't impute pet, thing that comes into your room, you impute dinner. Yeah. So if you start putting wisdom, bliss on everything that you see and touch that's important, then it starts to have an effect on you. If you just impute Scotland, then you're in a shit country. Because it's shit. Scotland, shite! You seen Trainspotting? Yeah. That's my favourite bit. What are we doing out here? Yeah, if you impute Vajrayogini's Pure Land, then it's bliss. If you think, no, it is Scotland, is it? Find it. If you try to find Scotland, you can't find it. It's nothing other than an imputation of your mind. So this is what we're doing with the symbols. We're changing the way we see things to it, constantly seeing everything as pure and beautiful. So when you start to dress, and you put your makeup on, you're just putting on, when you're practicing Vajrayogini, she's putting on her adornments, and you're just beautifying yourself to enter your Pure Land. And you look in the mirror, you see Vajrayogini. What do you see? What do you see? Wrinkles. I am getting old. The whole of the Buddha Dharma is, may understand, it's a nonsense. What are you identifying with as I? The appearance in your mind of what you're imputing as a wrinkle. Now, who told you wrinkles are bad? The cult told you. Why did they tell you? So you'll buy their products. If you're with wisdom beings, wrinkles are a sign of beauty and wisdom. So when you see wrinkles, you think, oh, wonderful. I'm moving into the arena of my life of wisdom. Old age. The autumn part of my life. The best part. Why would you get a product to eradicate that? And why do you see it as ugly? Because you've been told to. By the cult. If you're not brainwashed by the cult, the people who get plastic surgery are the ugliest people who've ever lived. They're so ugly, it's actually hard to look at. I had to stop one of the films we watched. I just couldn't look at it. It's so repellent what Jane Fonda has done to her body. That identity with this body. The ignorance. To get to that level of age and still cling to it. Like all your happiness is determined by what you impute in the mirror. It's shocking. It's not come from nowhere. It's come from the cult. Yeah, they spend lots of money on plastic surgery. It's a big business to make people identify with their body. Yeah, and Buddha's saying, that's not you. Yeah, you can't age. Yeah, this dust to dust, what is it? Ashes to ashes, dust to dust. It's going back. It's not you. But the cult has brainwashed you to think that you're a brain. Was there a great story of the Dalai Lama? He was with some materialists, like the big scientists, and they're all like, he's like, do you think that you're a brain? And they're all like, yes. And it's like, remember we said, I think, are you all married? And they're like, yes. And it's like, are you in love with a brain? Five of them said no, and one of them went, yes. And it's like either they did because they had to cling to their position, or they're genuinely mad. You're not a brain. This is where you can get logic and stuff can help you to understand what it means to understand what an entity is. And what you're actually saying when you say you are the brain, and you go into it, you must, when you see a person, you must see a brain. When you see a brain, you must see a person, because they're the same entity. And things like, if you see the parts of the watch, you see the watch and the parts, you can't separate them, they're the same entity. Yeah. But when you see a brain, you don't see a person. And when you see a person, you don't see a brain. They're not the same. You don't understand like basic logic and stuff. You'll start to understand what brainwashing is when it can be explained to you absolutely, completely, clearly, logically. It can't be refuted that you're not a brain, but you still think you are. That's brainwashing. It's just a belief. There's no proof for it. You can go onto the internet now. Okay. Is there being complete clarified proof that the mind is a brain? It's not. Said they've been trying for 150 years. Now, if you're a good scientist and you've been trying to do something for 150 years and everything you've done has had no effect on mental illness, on anything. In fact, mental illness has increased. You think maybe we're looking at the wrong place for what the mind is? Wouldn't you? That's a very important thing when you look in the mirror. Who do you see? And you think, I am old, I am ugly. Why do you see that? You've been trained. So retrain yourself. I am beautiful. So we're going to regret our negative actions. We go through them. Probably had plenty of teachings on karma, and you understand that every action leaves an imprint, and it's going to ripen as an effect in the future. It said, if you want to know what you were in the past, look at yourself now, what's happening in your life. And if you want to know what's going to happen in your future, look at yourself now and what you're doing in your life. So if you're in the pub on your 8th pint of beer, crying into the bar with your head down, there's people swearing in the background, watching people kick a pigskin about, screaming about, everyone's cursing, there's a couple of people fighting. Yeah, you're about to get evicted. Your girlfriend's left you for cheating on you with someone else. You can understand that you did a couple of bad things in the past. And now it's ripening. Yeah. If you're sitting in a room listening to Dharma with beautiful people, with good food, nice, secure life, you understand you did some good stuff. It's ripening. As a result of the person in the bar, the chances are they're going to have negative thoughts about their wife, negative thoughts about the people in the pub, negative thoughts about themselves, and they're going to create more stuff in the future. Chances are, if you're sitting listening to Dharma teachings and you're with good people and you're having a happy mind, you're creating beautiful things in the future. Yeah. So that's like the power of resolve will come in here. It's like, I don't want to do those things because they were garbage, and I want to do good things. So it's not just a question of not doing it, it's seeing the positive side. That's what we need to do. So it's not, I'm never going to kill again. It's like, I want to help people. I want to save life. I want to save the insects' lives. Yeah, when we were young, we crushed the insects. Well, I did. I still don't like trampling on ants in the house. That was just before I met the Dharma, actually. Yeah, in the kitchen, so trample on the ants. Done that. Never. I don't want to do that. I want to save them. I regret doing it. I'm not going to do that again. Next time there's ants in the house, I'll save them. Yeah, and all the things like the saying bad things about people behind their back. Wish I hadn't done that. Purify it. And in the future, I want to say good things. Yeah, you can visualize yourself saying good things. It's like, I don't want to do that. But we regret. Make the power of resolve. The processes in which we do this, we'll go through into the sadhana, and I'll explain better later. I just want to go into the mechanics, so forgive me if it's not too clear at the moment. We'll go into it in practice. When we're doing the group practice together, we'll do it as a process in time, but I've got a week to work on it. This is what we'll be doing in the practice. Developing that mind of regret, developing the resolve not to do it again. Then when we visualize the mantra, it's in Vajrasattva's heart. It's the 100-syllable mantra, which looks like this. You won't be able to visualize it. Okay. I still can't do it. The main thing is to develop sense that the mantra is there. You can just have light, you can just get a sense that the mantra is swirling around Vajrasattva's heart. And as we recite the mantra, or I say the actual processes we'll do in the sadhana, essentially what will be happening, either you'll be reciting the mantra or after you recite it. But you're reciting the mantra, and streams of nectar will come down into your head from Vajrasattva, into your body. And all your negativities will exit out of your anus or your urethra, wherever you piss from, wherever you shit from. Not your vagina. The vagina is inherently pure in Tantra. Yep, so it just goes out as snakes, scorpions, spiders, things you don't like. Oily, black liquid, black smoke. And this just pours into you, and your stuff pours out. You'll be visualizing you can visualize your central channel and your chakras and all your channels, which we'll get into over time. Yeah, the practice. And it will cleanse them all. And you just feel that you're having a bath, like a warm bath, washing away all your garbage, and you feel all the knots, your energetic knots are being released and freed, and you're entering into bliss as Vajrasattva. The forgiveness aspect of God washes away your garbage. The earth will crack open. Yeah. And Yamantaka, as the aspect of the Lord of Death, will be there. The head of a bull. on a big blue body with his mouth open. And this is Yamantaka's food. Yeah. All the negative stuff that we ever put in this, give me it. And he's going to, you visualize him consuming your negativity. It's the food for death to take. And you say the mantra, you do that. You say the mantra, you do that. You say the mantra, you do that. If you say the mantra 100 times, you just keep visualizing it's just all pouring into you and purifying you. Then you'll visualize yourself as in like a hollow body when you've been purified, and then the nectar will fill you up completely. And you feel just filled with bliss. And Vajrasattva will enter into you, purify you. You'll dissolve into emptiness. You'll arise as Vajrasattva. You'll purify the entire world. The world will dissolve back into you. And then you'll say the short mantra on Vajrasattva home at your heart. And that's just like blessing everything in the universe. These are the essential practices, which I'll write up, because I've realized now, you won't be able to remember just now anyway. It's just getting the general imprint of what we're doing. Yeah, just want to give you the sense. And get the feel of what it means to have everything purified. Purifying your ordinary state of perception, then becoming at one with the purified aspect of your consciousness, which is Vajrasattva, and then completely identifying that you are completely pure, indestructible, and then dissolving again into pure awareness. So when you're doing the practice, does anyone have any questions at the moment? Like anything that's particular? Do we have where's the other mic? What did it do? It's there. Actually, sorry.
When you were speaking, I saw a tendency to get into the thought came about being good enough for God. Like, I just wondered if there was a guidance for keeping the purification of the consciousness, not the I. Because I can feel it's quite the Catholic, that's how I was raised. It's quite a strong leaning towards becoming good enough for God. And it feels like that's got some truth to it. But I can see how it's quite a big potential trap. Or not, I don't know.
Oh, well, there you go. That's actually, you all right, Baron? It's actually just lying down like a slug.
Almost zero sleep all-nighter.
What's that?
Pretty much zero sleep all-nighter.
Yeah,
and driving abroad.
I'm only joking. It's like, how will you know when you're purified? When you're a Buddha. So what's still coming up is an energetic obstacle, what you just said. So there's like, if there's still a sense of like, say again, what is it?
The I has to be pure enough to
Right, that's an obstacle.
Yeah.
That's a karmic obstacle. Yeah, a conditioning. I have to be pure in order to be a Buddha. And it's like, no, you don't. And so you do Vajrasattva to purify it. And let's go into what could be the karmic actions I did. Maybe I can't specifically identify it, but Vajrasattva knows. I put my faith that Vajrasattva knows whatever action I did to create this effect in me that's preventing me from resting my true nature, and this is the excuse. This is a wrong view in the past is now ripening as a view that prevents me from seeing my true nature, and that's an energetic clog. So just feel that that's one of the scorpions or things that's been washed away. So you relate to it and go, I don't want that. I want it out. It's poison. And so I make the resolve. I won't have wrong views in the future. I won't relate to that in the future. To the best of my ability, I won't relate to that. I will relate that I am a Buddha. I am pure awareness. Yeah.
So really helpful. So the idea of impurity itself, you purify.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, if it's an obstacle. It's, and so you won't have the feeling. Yeah, I mean, it's like when you've been dirty, you've been working, a bit knackered, and then you go in the bath. It's like, then that feeling you come out, that's Vajrasattva. It's like, and you really believe you've been purified. Yeah. The faith is the big thing. I mean, you just got faith that God purified and you purified, really. It's like, and so again, get into your channels and visualize them all just being whoosh. But the energy, feel the energy come in and let it wash you out. But when you're doing it, so when you go into the bath, what happens to the water? Isn't it? And you may be like, what's it like? You got some ingrained mud in your heel or your toes. These are the difficult bits. The easy bits, you got some mud on your ear, so it washes off, and it's like, okay, now for the toes. It's like, and then the mat. You might have to get a new bath, really, if you're really dirty. A shower afterwards. So stuff is going to come up, and so, although that's the nice aspect of Vajrasattva, you've got the other side of it. This is not a particularly pleasant practice, and stuff can come up when you're being purified. If you've got lots of gunk in you, when you're ill, you might have to throw up. It's not particularly nice for the body to be purified. It needs to be sick, for example. So the energy channels, stuff can come up. So really strong negative minds. Things like when you experience something pure, then big loud noises come up immediately when after you get like some purification. Unpleasant people coming up. And this is God's way of purifying you. Because then it's how you react to it that purifies it. If you go straight back into your old habits, it's not going to have too much of an effect. Yeah, so just be aware that stuff might not. So it might be a breeze. Yes, your energy channels get purified. And then signs can come up in your dreams. Yeah, things like doing like a lot of shit in your dream, like a shit that just lasts for ages. It's like this is a sign the mind's being purified. Yeah, it's like there's other signs I can't think of off the top of my head. So it's like an intent to go into it. I'm going to do 10,000 of these things. As you say, the mantra is quite long. And like doing 100 I'm not sure, it might take 20 minutes in the session just to do 100. So to do 10,000, you can see it can take a while. Now you can do it quite concentrated when we do sessions together, but you can also just sit in the garden, just do 100. Or just, this is what you have a mala for. You'll see people with different things hanging off the mala. So that's for counting or marking. So this one's got like 33. So you might stop at 33 and then continue on later on, an hour later from 33, until you count up to 10,000. Now, this is a tool, that you, like a bath, that you feel, I need to do some Vajrasattva practice. And you can purify. You don't need to practice Vajrasattva to awaken. Yeah, it's a tool. And it all depends on you, whether you feel you've got stuff inside you and you want to purify it. And you want some help on that aspect. Because of the way the mind works, it can be helpful to have a sense of completion about doing a practice. So that's why it's good to do a certain amount of mantras or a certain amount of time, or do it until you have these dream signs or things like that. But we are doing this as a preliminary on the practice. So you create an intention, right, I'm going to do this, and I'm going to go into this. And I may never do this again in this lifetime. So I'm going to go for it. Now this is the tricky parts in the spiritual path. We're going from that fantasy realm, watching Garchen Rinpoche documentary, going, I really want to be like a yogi or a yogini, and I really would like to start from the beginning, do it all. And it's like, right, well, now we're doing it. And after maybe a couple of days, I can't be bothered getting up. I don't want to do it. This is part of Vajrasattva. And when that comes, you're going, this is it. This is what it means to be a practitioner. Is to go through these days and practice. And what I mean by new age people go, as soon as you hit that wall, you try something else. Some other nice thing to make you feel good. It's like, no. And most importantly, what Silvio brought up last night is you have to stop being obsessed by contrasts. And you have to enjoy the negative side of life. One of the best examples of this is alcoholics. Or heavy drinkers. You go out for a night on the piss, it's great. Then you enjoy the hangover. You enjoy feeling like shit. You enjoy hanging out with your mates, feeling like shit together. You enjoy the body aching. Instead of, moaning about it. You can moan about it, you enjoy the moaning. You enjoy, it's the camaraderie. It's the negative side of life. And you go, this is fun. If you're just attached to the good part, you're in trouble. You've got to enjoy the fights, the difficulties, and understand that's got a beauty to it. It's all of life. Tantra's yes to life. This is the perfect 8 on the Enneagram. You enjoy your crap time. You enjoy the pain you're going in. There's just a yes to it underneath. There's not, I don't want that. I don't want it to be like that. It's like that. Yeah, this is yes to life. And so when you're doing the practice, it's like, and if you're doing it together, you have that sense of love together, that you're going through this pain together. Yeah? You watch programs on doing the SAS training. There's a fun to pain. You're in it together. Yeah, you know what I mean? It's like, you know, maybe you're doing this for the mantra and you're vomiting up. Like this inside, you're going, yes, this is what it means to be a practitioner. And I'm doing it. And you don't run away from it. It's like cleaning the baby's nappies. It's like, no, I don't. It's horrid, but it's beautiful. You've got to understand what I'm saying. The yes behind it all. The duality's fine. It only really becomes duality when you're afraid of it, or you want it, hope and fear. So you say yes to the fact that you don't want to say yes. You have to catch the spirit of it. So you're not denying. There's a part of you go, oh, this is shit and I don't want to do it. And you say yes to that feeling. I hate this and yes. Somehow if you get inside that yes, this other thing that says, oh, I don't want to do this becomes very light. And it's okay to feel like that. You know, Father, why have you forsaken me? Okay, right. Let's bless them all. You don't know what Jesus, you don't know the tone of voice he had when he said that. You know what I mean? If he really didn't want to experience it, he'd have nicked off when he was in the trees in Gethsemane. He knew what was coming. I mean, he did cry tears of blood. But he still could have ran away. Yes. Yes to the worst form of death. And then no when it's happening. And then yes to that. This is what it means to be a practitioner. Being a practitioner doesn't mean you have it good all the time. It means you have to have the things that suck. Amen.
That no, that's like an organic expression, isn't it? It's like unless you attach to it, it's very different. That kind of no that comes up when you experience things that are uncomfortable or uneasy, and then there's this like, oh, like a contraction or something, but it's like almost organic. And if you don't attach to that, there's an opening through the contraction as well, right?
Yeah.
Like it's part of it. That contraction is part of it.
Yeah. It's difficult to put into words. I mean, I'm just fortunate that my Sangha brother, Guru, best friend, that's his joie de vivre, that's his best aspect. You just watch him you met him when he was unbelievably ill, he could barely walk, and there's just joy inside about it. It's just yes to God, yes to everything that happens in life. Like utter, this is the 8, utter yes. The lust, the ultimate lust. Yes. I'm about to get machine gunned down by the Chinese. Yes. And I don't want it to happen. Yes. But behind it, you can't put into words. Behind it is just a deliriously in pain. But this is life. So this is the Tao. This is Taoist. I think it's very invisible. So you can see the incredibleness of a Buddha. When that expression when things are pure. But to see the expression of the Buddha when it's just when they're involved in the negative side, that's different. It's harder to see. So things come up, and we create that intention when we do the practice. Like, we're going to run a marathon, but because we're householders, we don't need to do the full marathon. We do a little quarter marathon. Well, a mile run. Yeah, it was 100,000 to 10,000. It's like a tenth. It's a 2 mile run. So we can do that. Then it's like we set it up, and so when that mind comes up that really doesn't want to get up, just go, yeah, I'm going to get up. It's like, I'm going to get up, and I experience my pain of waking up and my half delirious. This is why Sangha is helpful. That's what I mean, the camaraderie. It's like, you look at them and you can laugh at them. You're both, isn't it? You can imagine you both just vomiting into the side. It's horrible, I know. What? You can't really share in the joy together unless you go through the pain together. It's like a thing, isn't it? Imagine a relationship that was just good. Doesn't mean anything. Yeah. It has to get tested. Yeah. Do you really trust someone? Whenever someone gets slightly negative, they run away? That's why women test men. I've said before, that's why they'll smash things and just to see if they, because men aren't in touch with their intuitive hearts, and women can generally see if they're committed or you don't mean it. So they'll test, and then they'll fly off the handle, and then oh no, she's crazy, and that's their excuse to get out. But if you love someone and they vomit in your face, it's okay, isn't it? Or they, like, you pick them up, you're about to change nappy, and they pee in your face, they pee in your mouth. Get ready for that, Baron. It's like, and this green kryptonite flowing, smelling ooze will go all over you. You know, this is too difficult. Isn't it? Traditionally, from until death do us part, through thick and thin. Yeah, not fair weathered. It's not part of the vows, is it? When things aren't going well, fuck it. I want to feel good all the time. You're cramping my energetic space. Would you take vows like that, would you? As soon as my energetic space gets cramped and I'm not my full self that I'd like to be in my aliveness, then we'll part. I love you. Doesn't mean anything. And you want to go through difficulties together. Of course you don't, but you do. Yes to life and all its paradoxes, contradictions, and everything. So this is like a feeling and a wisdom. This is wisdom, right? You can't just think your way there as you're experiencing these difficulties and negativities. And the ability to discern what actually is a negative thing that you need to cut out of your life. It's not that you become a numpty, right? It's like if the baby's pissing in your mouth, Baron, I don't think you need my advice to turn the baby around. Yeah, you don't say yes to the baby pissing in your mouth. It means you just let it piss in your mouth. It's just happening and it's okay. And then you with me? It's just wisdom. If someone's beating down your soul in a relationship, you don't want to stay in the relationship. Yeah, year after year, they're just beating down your soul. It's like, this is not meant to be. No one can tell you these things, right? Just you yourself know what's good or bad. A book can't tell you what's wrong karma, bad karma. You have to sense it and feel it, and that's what we're purifying. If you can, allow stuff to come up. That's why Shivali's not doing this practice to kind of do Tara practice, because she's got another being inside her. You know, I don't know if you're doing this stuff with her energy channels. Well, that's where, yeah. It's like, it's powerful stuff. It's not, it's actually moving your energies, and stuff comes up in your energies. And remember that your minds are mounted on your energy winds. So when it's stuff, some negative minds can really come up. And also some very beautiful minds, because you're purifying. Does anybody have any other questions? On anything?
Just at the start, you were talking about you have an image of yourself, which is different from the body. So see, in practices when you're visualizing yourself as the deity, well, yeah. So there is a visual aspect to it. So, for example, Vajrasattva, the visual aspect of that is white, with the ornaments and stuff like that. So there is the visual aspect of it, or not?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Because,
like, right now, I can see as Vajrasattva. And I'm still aware that you've got like a little tash, a little bit of scrunch under there.
okay.
What you don't want to do is try and superimpose an image on a person and pretend you're not seeing the person. I think, and the most important aspect is the actual spontaneous appearance arises later. It's the conception. So the deepest one is you see the person as God, divine, pure awareness. You just relate to that other person as divine. Still think that can be very abstract. And it can be more powerful if you relate to that person as Vajrayogini. You relate to your mum as Vajrayogini. It can be much, much more like personal than you relating to your mum as God in drag. Like, it really take you there, what it means to see God in another person. When you start thinking, my mum's Vajrayogini, you don't have to pretend she's red. But you can sense that her inner being, who she's relating to inside herself, is red, is a dakini. You follow?
Yeah.
It takes a lot of practice.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah? And say, this path isn't for some people. That's the most important thing. It's just relating to them as divine. You can just still see them in their human form if you like, but inside you think, this is a divine being. Because what is horrendous about it when you start to relate to them. If you start to relate to your mum as Vajrayogini, you know that she can see your mind. We can't bear it. You can't bear it for a few seconds. Oh! I'm being seen purely, and we don't want it. You check that we don't want God. I'm being seen for who I am directly. No. And you think I'm bad. I want to be. And it's like, it's too much. It's just like, let me go back into my dream world where no one else sees me, and I'm just going back to relating to everybody in the way that I.
But then from their inner side, they wouldn't be relating to you in the way that I would relate to myself.
No.
They would relate to me as pure and as a mirror to their Vajrasattva, and all the other stuff that's, overlays, that's just kind of filtered out because they well, I don't know, but I like to think that they would only see the good stuff.
Well, yeah, I mean, so this is just method, technique. I mean, they don't see that because it's just you. There is only I. There is no self and other. There's only He. So this is still still a process of coming back to the one consciousness. So it's not someone else looking at you. There is no you. There's no separation. Yeah, the person that you think you are does not exist. They think that's being seen. Yeah, or there's no them there, and there's no you here. It's just one consciousness. But to get into that, it's like we're starting to see that consciousness is over there. And when you impute mum, there's someone else, there's something else over there. When you relate to your mum, you're not relating to pure consciousness. When you're relating to Vajrayogini, you're starting to relate to pure consciousness. It's appearing as a form. It's like, it's seeing itself. Sorry.
Just for the visualization, obviously, I've said before, I really struggle with that. So is it just a case of just going with the mantra and just trying to feel into it?
The most important thing is to feel it.
Right.
So basically, for the first, I don't know, till very recently, I couldn't visualize for shit.
Yeah.
Like nothing. It's just big, but I just feel it.
Okay.
You just get the sense there's a presence there. Just sense it, feel it, and then you start to. It's much more important, and there are artists among us who can visualize things like in blazing detail. Like architects are usually quite good. Yeah. But they're not in any. They wouldn't be any more enlightened just because they could visualize Vajrasattva really well. It's the feeling.
Okay. And just kind of what you were saying on Samaya's thing about obstacles and stuff like that, I think for me there's still a bit of a block of like, am I going to be stuck with this forever? Is this just like, is it going to work? So is it just a case of having that blind faith and just going with it?
Well, yeah, give it a shot.
Yeah.
Yeah, and if it doesn't work, then stop.
How will you know it works?
You just start to feel it.
Okay.
There's like other indicators. Am I becoming happier? Is my life becoming better? And the three kind of the classics, are my delusions getting weaker? Do they come up less often? Are they less intense? And when they arise, did they not stay as long? So before I started, so some people start the path, if they get angry at someone, that could last for 10 years.
Yeah.
Or it could last, let's say, can last for a day. And you practice in, say, 3 or 4 years, you find that you get angry, it lasts for 2 or 3 hours. Or there's elements you, I shouldn't be like that, and it comes back, but there's moments where you actually intercept it. So the practice is starting to work. Personally, I remember doing Vajrayogini empowerment. That was 7 months after meeting Geshe-la. And then during that empowerment, I started to, like a little kind of tingle here. So that must be blessings. What's this funny little tingle? And that was after 7 months. And then practice that a long time, and then slowly, you just when you visualize Vajrayogini, you start to feel good. Automatically, you just start to feel good, and you just feel like there's an energy coming on your head. And then, like, it's easier just to sit quietly. This is the blessings coming in. You start relating to that's the Buddha's making contact with you. But if you're not experiencing any of that, like if you practice and you don't experience any of that, and your mind just, when they go, okay, maybe this practice is not for me, try something else.
Just on you kind of saying that, I think I've just kind of realised that I think there's some part of me that wants to hold on to the belief that it isn't going to work because I have experienced those things just from being here and not practicing very much. So
you have experienced.
I have experienced, yeah.
What
my anger's less and less. Like I could hold a grudge and I could be angry for weeks.
Right.
Because I don't feel it's as long. Still feel angry, of course, and struggle at times to let things go, but it's not for as long. And I can be happier.
Great.
Yeah.
That reminds me, though, it's like my Lama says, when you're doing this practice, you can come up against blocks or resistance, and it's like, I don't want to change. And she says, like, just leave it and just visualize that the energy goes around it. Yeah. It's like you're not ready yet for it to move. It's okay. Yeah. It's a tool, it's your tool. The Buddha's never forced anything on us. You go, this is just too painful. And so there's like, that can take you into another practice that you need to look at to be able to cope with any kind of trauma, abuse, any pain. It's like it's the practice is bringing it up for you. This is a big block where just sitting with this visualization isn't going to move it. I need to go into like working with it directly, not just that's there, purify it, but actually going into it and, inner child therapy and along those lines of being very gentle, holding your pain, holding your young self with love, putting energy into the embryonic stage of your being, things like that. And you can, still do the practice. Yeah, just be aware of those things, like for everybody. That those resistances can come up. It's going to show you your resistances. And these are the real knots. The only way to when we're really going to release the knots is to really rest in awareness. the absolute state of being, that that's gonna, and so that process still of opening up. So lots of nyam experiences. So when you're really dredging up samsara, so it's like Jim Lingber lays out all the different things, if you remember, the experiences that can come up. Your body can get ill. Yeah. Lots of, like, it's is it psychosomatic? Is that the right term? It's in there and it's coming up. And you say, you might go, I'm not ready for that yet. Fine, right? But it's shown you what's there, what needs to be done. I mean, it can purify it if you're willing for it to come up. But there's no need for it. Okay, we're never beating ourselves up with a stick. Okay, there's something else I want to say about it. Yes, I mean, all the other practices tie in. Right? All the practices on love, self-acceptance, and all these things are tying into this practice. So you can see where your blocks prevent you from practicing the meditations on love and awareness. You can see the identity where it's caught in abuse and how much the I needs to be healed around that. But really, ultimately, the only way to really release it all is to identify with pure awareness. Yeah, ultimately, this is not me. But we can't bypass that. It's the ability to have that come up completely. And what we're saying earlier, and say, yes. It's there. And I'm not going to rest in awareness to ignore it. It's to really see that that is what's guided me in my life to awareness. Quite profound stuff when we're going into the worst of our abuses. And saying yes, and it wasn't my fault. It's very, very difficult to not think it's your fault. And say, it can be very helpful, certain things, if you're around your parents with your grandchildren, with their grandchildren, and you can see that they treat them the same way they treated you, and you can see they're innocent, and it really helps you go, it's not my fault. My dad is just a human being. My mum is just a human being. And they did stuff onto me. I've taken that in as my identity. That process is incorrect. There is no other way I could not have taken on that identity, because I'm learning to function in the world, and the only way to do it is through identity. Yeah. So we have to bite the apple of knowledge. You have to understand duality, you can't function. You go to primitive time, somebody who's just never been taught duality, they can't function. They become like an animal. But you understand that even though I had to learn that identity, and the people giving me the identity abused me doing it, that identity is not me. And it's right at the core of all how I react to things. Like right at the direct angle. It's like, this is what the Enneagram's saying. Right underneath it all, your false self you're using it as your survival mechanism. It's not you, and you don't need to do it anymore.
if you're visualizing, working on your stuff, and you visualize your mother as Vajrayogini, is that by way of, it feels like it would be, that's God's will, that all happened because you're Vajrayogini, so that I could see you as Vajrayogini. So then there's all the crap, all the shit that went down is for this moment where you can perceive them that way. And then when you're seeing them as Vajrayogini, are you imputing yourself as pure awareness, or Vajrasattva, or where is the I that's seeing at that point?
Yeah, you're Vajrayogini.
So you're seeing yourself?
Yeah.
Okay, thanks.
Yeah, well, you can say anybody you like. You can say Tara, you're Vajrayogini, just holy beings everywhere. If you're resting in awareness, it's just pure awareness, just manifesting spontaneously. And when we're practicing Tantra, I just want to check, Baron, are you okay for time? You're okay for time. Right. We'll finish soon. I just wanted to check. It's very kind of fluid and playful, and things, when we're doing it, like you do the Vajrayogini Siddhana, it's just constantly dissolving into emptiness, then arising as Vajrayogini, then dissolving into emptiness, arising as a seed syllable, dissolving into emptiness, arising as Haruka in union with Vajrayogini, dissolving into emptiness, arising in your ordinary state, purifying self, dissolving into emptiness. You dissolve everything into emptiness. The Guru appears as Vajradharma. You dissolve everything into emptiness. The Guru appears as Vajrayogini, and it's like this. It's just appearances arising, dissolving. Appearance arises, dissolves. This is all the play. And we don't want the creativity to end. This is the display of awareness, all of this. And this is a method to relate to it as pure rather than it's wrong. So you probably, I don't know, I mean, you can play with it, but when you're relating to your mother of Vajrayogini, you want to work through your stuff with her. You know, so you're in that moment, everything's pure, and that stuff was a dream. But working, what you're saying is part of the process of working through it. That, okay, it was negative things that happened, but it was meant to happen. So that's a way of accepting it. It's like the Lam Rim side. You know, it was meant to be like that. I accept it. It's part of my growth, part of my karma, part of what's brought me to wisdom and compassion. And then now I'm Vajrayogini, and you're Vajrayogini, and it's all beautiful. And then if that fades, then let it fade. And if like anger comes up towards your mum, then work on that there rather than pretend there's someone else. It's just very fluid. When you're practicing, you won't be able to do it. If you can do it for a second, ring me up and say, I seen my mum as Vajrayogini for fucking 1 second. It'll blow your mind. I'm telling you, it'll blow your mind. Everything will change for you. You'll realize you can see your mum as Vajrayogini. And when you do, it's like emptiness is real. It's like, who's my mum? Because you're going from, oh, mum, to it's God the whole time. Just pretending to be a human. Walking, watching me. Just waiting for me to come on. Let's get rid of your ego. And you can't take it, right? I'm telling you, you won't be able to take it. It's like, I've just got to see her as mum. It's like, and get annoyed at her and stuff. What you want when you're practicing Kama Mudra is see your partner as the deity, and then make love. So you get a sense of that feeling of what it's like, God there with you merging in orgasm together. No thanks, let me just stay here and you stay over there. This is a nice feeling. You see the profundity of understanding the need for purification, to be able to let go of yourself into love, with the sense that you're loved. So don't worry, you can't do it like all the time. Just have glimpses. It's like, wow. This is what the path means. We're going from where we are to there, and it's like the gap. It takes time to allow these things to happen, like a long time. And after we've done the 10,000, then you can practice it whenever you feel like it, you know. Could do with some cleansing. Wasn't the best day. You know, I mimicked a llama and like a horse racer announcer. It's not very good. And like, you know, sitting up, you know, forgive me. Yeah. Jump to conclusions about not having the heaters on. I mean, it was pretty cold on it, and sort of, but you actually had the heaters on, so it's completely wrong. Yeah, it's like purifying me. You know, it's that need. Yeah, and it doesn't matter how enlightened you are. If you go out, it doesn't matter how enlightened you are, right? I think you are. If you go out into the city and spend 2 hours with your wife shopping, you're like, oh. It's like you get it's clogged. You got smoke on you. It's like so. Your body gets tired. It's so boring. It's unbelievable. Not quite as bad as going to an art gallery for me, but it's on the similar lines. It's like I get like the body gets like after 5 minutes of being in an art gallery. It's like oh, it's amazing. I automatically want to sit down. You have to wash it off. You have to cleanse off the effects of being in the city, don't you? You can't. You just walk in and nothing happens. So it's like it doesn't matter how enlightened you. Sometimes you just need to cleanse out the channels. And they're picking it. We're in form, and these are tools. Yeah, doesn't matter how much you're resting in awareness. This is a form that needs cleansed and looked after. Yeah, so then you can fill it up with pizza again and some junk.
So I'm saying that I've always had a conception that maybe similar to what Samaya was saying, that we have to purify ourselves until it's squeaky clean enough, and then suddenly we just switch into awareness, and that's job done. But as you're saying, it doesn't matter how light you are, you still need to cleanse the form, and that's closer to what Vajrasattva is and purification is.
When they say, if you're practicing Tokyo, and you're enlightened, then everywhere you look, you just see Buddhas, and you're in a pure land. It's like you can eat light. It's just this is all light. Like you're a rainbow body now. So when you're in that state, you don't need to do that. Okay. You probably don't need to worry about that for a few days. Mm-hmm. Yeah, but you can't get it with the mind. Yeah, I mean, I've tried. You can't get it with the mind. So how can they see that and see the human form? They're a Buddha. It's just inconceivable. It's inconceivable for us. It's like, what is going on? You know, that if you can relate to a human body, you need to cleanse it. You need to do practices and things like that. Buddhas are in different realm. Tokyo, you're going into everything is light. And then you say you don't need to visualize Buddhas anymore. They just manifest. Like each particle is a Buddha. It's just light. It's all God. It's just. That's quite wild, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's what I mean. It's like, maybe I just want to be in the human gig for a little bit. It's okay. It's just to finish off, if I can. Please forgive me. It's what Sri Singha said to Padmasambhava. It's why I like it so much. It's like, if you're so pure and you think you're beyond, I don't need to worry about the 10 non-virtuous actions, I'm beyond karma, then does it bother you? Do you get enjoyment when someone gives you some money or someone saves your life? Like, does it? As in, what's your honest experience? If you check into your honest experience, you don't need any guidance. You know that you're still here and you know there's other people over there. You're not enlightened. You need to work on yourself. You can pretend you are, and you can pretend I don't need to work on myself. But you are the judge and jury. It's like, not me. You don't need an outer authority to go to know if you're fucked up. You don't need an outer authority to know that you still get affected by other people. Do you? It's like, do you get affected by other people? Then you need to work on things. It's like, does it bother you if someone's making lots of racket next to your room? It make no difference to you because you're awakened. Does it? Like you said last night, you don't need to, you can pretend. No, it doesn't bother me. As soon as you think that, you know, it does. This is a discrimination. I find that very helpful. Just this self-honesty of where I am, and that's where I work from. And it helps keep us humble. The other thing about the story is, even though you're experiencing like total like appearance and emptiness of one thing and all things, it might end. Don't get ahead of yourself. Just keep practicing. Yeah, the ego's very cunning. And the examples, I mean, I've had gold standard enlightenment examples, like Venerable Geshe. I have to show you that. I found a little video. It's the actual moment when he's like walking from the photo shoot. And that's the moment where he experienced like pure love, like unbearable love. And it's actually got on a film. You just see his face. It's just like, it's just, I mean, I don't know how his body contains it, how it doesn't just spontaneously combust. He still practices. He doesn't do anything. So he could wear jeans and go down the pub and drink 10 pints. It wouldn't affect him at all. But he still does his practice. Just for showing the example. Just don't worry about it. If you're enlightened, it won't make any difference to you. Yeah. You wouldn't, if you're enlightened, you think, oh, I don't need to practice it. Why would you think that? It wouldn't make any difference. You're enlightened. It doesn't matter what you do. Just sit and practice. If you don't want to practice, who's that? That's resistance. So if you get people, I don't need to practice anymore, then who are you? Anyway, the Frenchies are on the move, which means they've probably got things to do. And we've been raving for, we're just over the 2-hour mark. It's not too bad. Looks crap in France.
Sunny.
Clear blue skies.
20 degrees or something. I don't know.
Oh, we're out in a park.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're in a park in Toulouse.
We just need to get
Thank
to
you
the
so
car.
much for hosting, Baron.
Oh, you're very welcome.
And I'll finish with a small dedication. through these practices, may all beings be purified. May every living being recognize their own true nature. May all sufferings, negativities, diseases, all discomforts be vanished immediately. And may every living being reside in pure happiness and joy. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. In the name of God, the compassionate, the merciful. Amen. So, thank you so much.
Thank you.